Okay, so this video is what I would do if I was moving to Canada. So most of this information comes from my own experience or talking to students. Now there is a lot of difference between Toronto and Vancouver, rural areas versus cities. So your experience in Canada might be very different. This is just a general idea. If traveling to Canada, I really recommend that you bring comfortable shoes. There are a lot of distances. Second, buses are a little expensive and it accumulates. Taxis, you probably will not be able to do something like just take a taxi and cross the city and pay $10. No, most of the times you pay much more than that. Ubers are available, and they are cheaper, but it's not always an option. And there are a lot of places in Canada that there's no public transportation. So if you want to go to a location, you have to make sure that you can take a bus close to there, and then you might have to walk a distance. So make sure you bring comfortable shoes. Second thing is that unfortunately there is no country in this world that is like a Disney movie where no crime ever happens. There could be the possibility that somebody tries to rob you. There is the possibility of danger. So make sure you pack light, that you can carry it, that you can keep an eye on it. And after 2 or 3 days of dragging those suitcases everywhere, you start to hate them. So make sure that you only pack what you really, really need to start your life and keep it light, because you probably won't be able to leave it anywhere you want. I would keep things safe. One of the things I found in my travels is that life does get expensive fast. So in Canada, you often have to pay the rent and a damage deposit of the same amount. Rent can be expensive in the cities. And most importantly is that there are a lot of people that will ask for 6 months or 1 year in advance. I am not sure if they're allowed to, but they do, to people that just arrived. So that might be very expensive. Transportation is very expensive. And you might also be asked to pay deposits. Like I had to pay $300 a water deposit for my house. The other thing that people sometimes are surprised to find out is that taxes are extra. So when you go to a store, you might buy something for $1, and then when you arrive to the till, you might find that they haven't included in the price the taxes. So taxes do vary from place to place. Some places have 15%, some places have 7%. So you don't consider the full amount, you have to add tax to the cost. So one of the ways that people do to be able to avoid the high cost of rent is that they rent basement suites. That means the bottom part of a house. The other thing is they look for roommates. And the third thing is that they might be renting temporary. So be very careful just with slumlords, they do exist, and also with some roommates that might be a little eccentric. And I wouldn't recommend renting something blind. That means when you rent something without seeing the property first. In my experience, I've always wanted to meet my landlord, make sure that we have an understanding and that I get to sense if they will be responsible or not. So one thing I wouldn't really pack a lot of is clothing. Clothing is very cheap in Canada. There are thrift stores. There is the dollar store. You can buy a lot of clothes there. There are tremendous amount of garage sales, and even department stores like Walmart tend to have cheapish clothes. So hells, Leslie, you've been talking about all the terrible things and how much we're going to walk. So what are we going to do? What do we pack? Well, easy. Socks. Okay, no, but Canada has seasons. Now, I hear from a lot of students that they say, well, so when does it never snow? In Canada, snow is always an option. Yes, in the middle of summer, you can have snow. Yes, in the middle of winter, you could have hot weather. There is nothing guaranteed. Can I explain that again? Nothing is guaranteed. So I would pack seasonal clothes. That means clothes that are resistant to the cold, clothes that are resistant to the heat, and clothes that are resistant to the water. So one of the things I find is that my hands and my feet, if they get cold, well, I'm miserable. So I have different types of socks. I'll give you an example. These are just my simple type of socks. I use these in the summer or beginning of fall. Then we have a little bit stronger socks, and these are my winter socks, and these are warmer, and they're more for beginning of winter or a cold day. And these, ladies and gentlemen, are the big socks, the big boys. So these are very thick. They cost me about $10 each pair, so they're very expensive. But these things are so wonderful. They keep your feet very warm, and they were worth the investment. So I have about 4 or 5 of these, and I recommend getting these in Canada as soon as possible. But as I said, your feet get wet all the time. So even if you buy very thick socks, if your feet are wet, you're going to have to take them off and put a new pair on. So this is where shoes make a difference. Now, these types of shoes are great because you want to look for 2 things. One is that they're waterproof, and the second is that they have a good grip. It is very easy to fall in the ice or in the cold. And also, you don't want to put your feet in frozen water or slush. So make sure you have nice protective boots. These are other pair of boots that I wear in the fall. Again, they are waterproof. You can use wax or you can use different products. They have a good grip and they have a certain amount of protection. Now, one of the reasons why I have different types of boots, and I do prepare to wear, oh dear, do you guys know any good English teachers? Anyways, you have to think where you're going, because if you're going to go to the shopping mall, you don't want to be walking in these all day at the shopping mall. You get tired and your feet get hot, and not a good idea. And sometimes sweat hurts more than the cold. So if you're going to go to a supermarket or somewhere where there's heating, just wear a pair of tennis shoes and wait to get there. Now, these are my favorite boots. These are the mother boots. These are thick inside. They're nice and warm. They have a good grip. They are waterproof. They're resistant, and they are good to make sure you don't fall. So even though they look very manly, I love these. Oh, I love these. And they keep my paws, those are my feet, protected. Comfortable and waterproof. Jesus, Leslie, you're making Canada sound really scary. Haha, wait and see. First of all, if you're going to come to Canada in the winter, don't go out with your hair wet. Seriously, don't. Second is make sure in winter to always protect your face. Now, this is important because sometimes your cheekbones and your ears, you don't feel them. So you don't realize that they might be damaged. So you make sure you keep them protected, keep your cheekbone protected, and the tips of your fingers. If you get very cold, you can always put them under your armpits. Ooh, okay. Now, the second thing I always recommend is that you always keep a pair of mitts next to you. Not only because these will allow you to protect your own face with your hands, but your fingers are important. So I always keep a pair. Now, in winter, I always hang them up to warm them up, but be careful not to accidentally leave them in a place where they can catch fire. Just saying. But it doesn't get that cold in Toronto or Vancouver, right? Yes, it does. All of Canada is cold. All of it. There is no part of Canada that doesn't get cold. The difference is minus 10, minus 40. So one of the mistakes that I feel a lot of people do when they come to Canada is they do 2 things. One is that at the beginning they buy a lot of things and it accumulates, and then they end up with no money and they still have to be paying things. And the second, of course, is that they jump the gun. What does that mean? That they buy something and then 2 days later they find out that they could have gotten it in a garage sale much cheaper, or somebody could have given it for free. So what you want to do is buy yourself some time. One is to be able to secure a house and then be able to find where to buy things and buy the best prices. So bring startup kits, like for example, stationery, kitchen, toiletries, sewing, tools, first aid, and electronics. So what do I mean with startup kits? Well, let's see a few of them that I brought for myself. I'm a teacher, but I know that, for example, clips and things like that are expensive. So I had a small set for stationery. That's paper supplies. And again, it's not that, buying something isn't expensive. It's that it accumulates fast. And until you know where to get them and you know how to get them, that it's cheaper, sometimes it's easier just to have one or two things handy. I brought a small kit for my kitchen. Toiletries, for example, nail clips, things like that really, really help. Makeup, of course. Sewing, this is one of the ones that are so easy. Most of us have it already. So I just brought a little amount of needles and thread, and I had them in this little kit, which I brought with me. Tools. Now, I love this thing, and it has saved me so much. These things are great, and they're great for the first couple of days because you don't really want to buy all the tools individually, and most importantly, don't buy cheap tools. They really are cheap. So these are great because then you can fix a few things around the house until you find that in especially garage sales, you will find tools incredibly cheap, sometimes free, and you've wasted your money. And first aid, and of course electronics. What I found is sometimes when you don't know where to look, you might need a cable for your computer and you end up buying a $10 cable when it's only worth $1. So I always brought all my electronics, all my cables, everything I needed to make sure that I could continue my work until I was able to locate a place that I knew had good prices, that I knew which secondhand stores carried good electronics. There's one thing that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and it's the fact that when you move to another country, you might find yourself very sad. Not only because you miss your home and your family and your friends, but also because things are never exactly how you expected, and there's always surprises, and we have a hard time with change. So I do recommend that you bring certain things that make you happy. For example, I love my hand cream, so I can't find one that I like here, so I bring the hand cream that I like from Mexico. The other thing is bring things that make you smile. Pictures, specific type of food that you really like, because not only it might be difficult to find them, but they might be very expensive. So bring a few things that make your heart a little warmer. So one of the things you do is as soon as you arrive, you hit the pavement. So you have to secure a home. There is kijiji.ca. You can also go to libraries, supermarkets, and see the postings. You will also find that sometimes it's better just to drive around the area you want to live in and check out if there are rent ads. But make sure you move and get a place fast, because sometimes people want to travel first, and then what happens is it might take a long time to secure a place. One is because you have to fill out the information. Some people will not rent to people who just arrived, and the third thing is it takes time for them to call you back. So go for it. So we interrupt this video to tell you that I hate cell phone carriers in Canada. Sorry, I do. So this might sound a little bitter, very bitter, but I hate cell phone carriers in Canada. So what's my problem with cell phone carriers? Well, first of all, I really recommend that you get a plan or that you bring your own cell phone from your country. One of the reasons is because in Canada, with most prepaid cell phone carriers, you get charged for receiving the call and making the calls. So this is very important. When somebody calls you, you pay for it too. Data is limited and many times very expensive. There are a lot of hidden costs. Is a lot of online bureaucracy. Yes, I hate them. You have to call them in an 800 number and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people think, okay, so I'll go to Canada, I'll go to a local store, I'll buy a cheap cell phone, I'll just get a chip. In that moment, put some money in it, and then people can call me and I have a local number. No. What happens is with most, in my experience, you have to go to a website and then you have to give your information and blah, 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 blah. So take your time when getting a cell phone. Get some advice. Ask for hidden fees. Ask them if receiving calls, if texting, how much texting, what is the data, how much does it cost, because they are very good at telling you, oh no, you get all the calls you want. Yeah, after 6 p.m. Or you get all the calls you want. Yeah, but only to your local number, and it doesn't include 800 numbers, or it doesn't include this, or it doesn't include that. So yes, I hate cell phone carriers, and I have been more successful using my cell phone carrier from Mexico than my Canadian cell phone carrier, and I've tried a few. So they're expensive, and they suck. Okay, I'm sorry for saying all those terrible things about cell phone carriers. No, I'm not. But anyways, library cards are amazing. Libraries are amazing in Canada. Not only they have a lot of types of books, you can go and just get lost in there. I also love that they're a haven. It's a place where you can feel comfortable and welcomed. They have videos and music and movies and a lot of online resources. For example, many libraries have what is called Mango language services, which is learning languages free online. That's one of the services they give. And another thing is they have community events. And this is a great way to meet people. So you can sit there and stitch or color or talk to others. And it's a really nice place to go. So get that card. It's free. So this is one of the strangest perks of living in Canada. But yeah, most furniture could be free. One of them is that the landlord often has furniture that was left behind by other people. The other thing is you might actually see furniture on the street. People throw it out. And you can also go to garage sales or just ask around. Let me explain. Everything in this room, I pretty much got for free. That filing cabinet, everything in this room, the tables, everything I somehow got free. It's not very unusual. The only thing you have to be super careful about is these little insects called bed bugs. Oh, they are a nightmare. They are very small and they're usually on any type of material. So anything you get, wash it and wash it well. So one of the things a lot of people talk to me about is the fact that when they arrive, they feel they have difficulty getting to know other people. So to join a community, I really recommend at the beginning that you also talk to other immigrants. Don't be difficult. Talk to everybody. If you're a mom, you can join some mom groups. You can go to a local park. If you have a pet, that's a great way to meet people because you just go to a pet park. If you have children, make sure that they join some type of sports. There's hockey or there's baseball. And those are great places to meet other parents. If you do like outdoor activities, hiking or going and joining other outdoor activities are great. Do that. And if you do have any type of religious affiliation, churches are a good way. Now, I hate to sound like one of those people that gives you commercials, but this is a good time to think about quitting smoking because you have to smoke outside. Haha. Most places don't allow smoking. The second thing is that it is expensive. There's a lot of taxes on tobacco. Not every type of smoking is as taxed, but yes, it is expensive. But you should also discover in your local city, you might find that there is a lot of tunnels. For example, in Edmonton, there are tunnels that connect a lot of the main buildings, and they're really great to find. So in the winter, it's a nice way to get from one place to another instead of having to go outside. The other two things that I recommend is one, remember that in Canada, you can drink the water. In most areas of Canada, you can drink the water from the tap. So what most of us do is we get a small filter and then we can filter the water just to be safe. And that saves you a lot of money. You don't buy bottled water. And the second thing is there are inflatable mattresses. So if you arrive to Canada and you can't find a mattress and you don't want to pay $300 until you know where you're going to stay, you can just buy an inflatable mattress at any local Walmart and it will save you a ton of money. Things I wouldn't do if I were you. One is don't try to bribe a Mountie. Don't. Not a good idea. Second thing is don't jaywalk. That means crossing the street in the middle of the street instead of the corners. You can get a fine. Third thing, Canadians really don't appreciate being compared with Americans. Actually, Americans don't like being compared to Canadians either. So I would recommend keeping my comments about Canada and criticizing Canada or comparing it to the US to myself. And fourth, for God's sakes, do not tamper with the fire extinguishers and fire alarms. The reason is because, unfortunately, the houses in Canada have a lot of elements that are easy to burn. And houses go up fast. And it's very, very scary. So you should really take that seriously. If your fire alarm is going off, change the battery. If it doesn't work, change it. But don't deactivate them. So fire safety is something you should take very seriously. For example, you should make sure that your smoke alarms work. There's usually a button you can press and it will let you know if they are working. You should test them every month. If they are expired, yes, they expire. You should consider getting a new one or asking your landlord for a new one. They're very cheap. Make sure you get good batteries though, because sometimes they come with really cheap batteries and then like a month later they're beeping and whatever. You should consider maybe house insurance if you're going to buy a house. And a thing that I love about Canada, I really do, in my experience again, is that you can trust the police. If you are polite and you ask, usually police officers are very helpful. So are firefighters and first responders. Which also brings me to the point of prescriptions. If prescriptions are expensive in Canada, and for many things you do need a prescription. So that means you have to pay for a doctor if you don't have health insurance, and then it just becomes very expensive. You should check with your embassy what things you can and can't bring. But I know, for example, birth control, it is better to bring a couple months in advance. Now, the other thing, of course, are glasses. If you have a specific prescription, I recommend that you get it. And dentists are very expensive too. So go to the dentist, go to your doctor, and get your glasses all ready before you come. Yes, you can bring pets to Canada. Make sure that they have their shots up to date. Obviously, check with your Canadian embassy because laws do change all the time. You do have to register your pets and you have to get some type of license in most places. What people are concerned about is rabies. Canada does have rabies, so you want to make sure that your dogs are protected against that. One huge difference that I love about Canada is that most Canadians are pet friendly. Yes, there are people that don't like animals, but most Canadians have pets in their houses and love pets very much. So you will find they're much friendlier to your animals. And one thing is that vets are super expensive. They really are. Like just getting the vet, just getting an appointment is usually $70, $80, $90. The medication is expensive, so I recommend that you bring everything you need for Fluffy. One of the things that students have tried to explain to me is that you really should make a financial plan. When you get money from other countries, there is many times time delay. business days versus just normal days. There might be taxes and fees from both countries, and it might be difficult to find a branch or location where to get your money. The other thing is you should consider having a squirrel fund. The expenses in winter increase significantly. Light and gas usually triple. And there are a lot of expenses like tires and shots, medication that increase in the winter. So you should definitely look at having a little bit extra money somewhere. Get our new book, Embracing Sholo.